How does a massive, heavily armed United States military installation just completely disappear from the map without a trace? Today, if you know where to look near the Missouri River, you might find these stone traces and a quiet spring hidden in the brush. In 1835, Liberty, Missouri sat right on the westernmost edge of the United States. Fearing attacks on the frontier, local pioneers petitioned Congress for a permanent military presence. The federal government responded by formally authorizing the construction of a massive military depot, strategically positioned high on the river bluffs. These foundations represent a permanent military investment that has since been entirely scrubbed from the landscape. This map illustrates the geographical strategy. Positioned closely along the Missouri River, the arsenal sat right between the town of Liberty and Fort Leavenworth, securing a critical supply route. The paper trail begins with an 1837 deed from the Turnham family, which officially transferred 10 acres to the government to establish the footprint of the Missouri Depot. Supplying the site required intense labor. Materials arriving at the river landing were slowly dragged up a steep dirt road by heavy teams of oxen. This engraving details the completed complex. Military records list at least 7 major structures built from brick and limestone, including a dedicated armory, barracks, and a powder house. But the anticipated frontier attacks never materialized. The heavily fortified installation was rendered tactically obsolete almost as soon as the mortar dried. Without an external threat, the military reduced the original garrison to a skeleton crew by 1850. The arsenal became a lightly guarded stockpile of federal weapons, sitting right in the middle of a deeply divided local population. In December 1855, border tensions over slavery boiled over. A group of roughly 100 local pro-slavery men marched on the arsenal to arm themselves for the Wakarusa War in neighboring Kansas. Captain Luther Leonard, the officer in charge, penned a report on December 4th detailing how the mob overpowered him and forced the seizure of 3 brass cannons, rifles, and vast amounts of ammunition. Once the immediate threat of war in Kansas cooled, the raiders voluntarily hauled nearly all the stolen weapons back to the depot gate and surrendered them. This record documents the political outrage in Washington. Senator Lyman Trumbull directly compared the unpunished Liberty raid to the violent takeover at Harper's Ferry, demanding a thorough investigation. The federal government ultimately failed to hold the raiders accountable. By letting the incident slide, they sent a clear message to local militias that federal installations could be hijacked without permanent consequence. 6 years later, in April 1861, the nation fractured. The attack on Fort Sumter sent a wave of explosive tension across the Missouri border. On April 20th, a force of 200 secessionists led by Colonel Henry Rout descended on the arsenal for a second time. The military storekeeper, Nathaniel Grant, filed a desperate report. This time, the mob completely emptied the brick storehouse, hauling away cannons, hundreds of cavalry sabers, and nearly 400,000 cartridges. Unlike the rehearsal in 1855, these weapons were not coming back. They were permanently taken and quickly distributed to Southern forces. The raid instantly provided heavy artillery and small arms to the secessionists during the highly volatile opening days of the war in Missouri. A fortress constructed entirely with federal funds to defend the western frontier had been hijacked and turned into an instrument used to aid the rebellion. Once the Civil War concluded, the military had no strategic use for the compromised facility. Congress soon voted to decommission the site. This 1869 newspaper advertisement details the bureaucratic sell-off. The government auctioned the remaining livestock, tools, and the arsenal grounds themselves to private buyers. The physical erasure of the base occurred throughout the 1880s. The structures were not destroyed by an invading army, but methodically dismantled by the local population. The heavy limestone blocks and thousands of federal bricks were scavenged and scattered, repurposed to build civilian homes and structures across the growing town of Liberty. Privatization and opportunistic scavenging managed to erase a massive federal installation from the landscape far more thoroughly than any military battle could have. The last physical trace vanished in November 1909, when an overheated stove burned the final historic building to its foundation. Dismantled before widespread photography, we lack perfect images of the facility in its prime, leaving us to rely on these fragile documentary fragments. Today, a quiet local mystery persists. We still do not know exactly which historic homes in modern-day Liberty are secretly constructed with the arsenal's scavenged bricks. The physical footprint is gone, but these records document a facility that anchored the defense of the frontier and later armed a local rebellion. The Liberty Arsenal was swallowed by a shifting frontier, bureaucratic auctions, and the earth itself, proving that significant history often hides right beneath our feet. This is Roosterville, USA, where together we uncover the forgotten places and hidden history that shaped our communities.